Hello, fine people of the internet. Um, that accomplished chain guy from Reddit. I was doing the Apex trading prop firm deals, and yeah, the post kind of got a lot of traction. I don't know why, but I just thought I would hop on and kind of make one of these videos explaining my strategy and how it is that I trade. Because I've been getting a lot of messages and stuff, and I figured a video would be helpful. So I've never done one of these before, so bear with me, but I will do my best to kind of go over the chart setups, what I look for, what I'm doing, even in the first place. So first, the chart. Um, we have a ES chart. This works on MES, the micros, NQ, all of it. And this is like the main setting right here. This kind of makes the entire strategy work. Is this volume? So everyone's kind of used to the minute charts, 15-minute, 5 minute, or whatever. Um, it's all fucking useless. That doesn't tell us anything. It just is time. And people try to come up with triangles and all that bullshit, and it's just garbage. So what I use is the volume. And I added all these settings in here manually. You can hit the configure, go to volume, add, and then you can just type in, 500, populate down there. So I use the 4,000. I've back tested, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000. I just found 4,000 works the best for what I'm doing. So you go in here, you just select 4,000, and this is what the bars look like. And I took all of the grids off. It's just very raw. This is the VWAP. And I guess the VWAP, I can go into that. This was like a third party thing. I think it's called the VWAP intraday. I think it was free. It was the first thing that popped up on Google, and this is just like the default settings. I don't really think I changed anything. Um, and I keep the standard deviation bands on it, just kind of as a guide. I don't really like trade off of it too much sometimes, but I'll go into that. So yeah, once you get the VWAP in there, you don't need it, but it is helpful for me. It feels like I'm flying blind without them. All right, so let's get into the meat of this. Um, Essentially, what I'm doing is looking for supply and demand imbalances from buyers and sellers, and I mark it. So this is a clearly, an obvious one right here. It's these two guys. This was January 19th. This was like the Friday when we hit all-time highs. And so there's a lot of volatility, and this is a kind of a good example to like start with. Um, so you can see here where price just shoots off, and we look for that area of basing where the sellers and the buyers are matched and evenly. They agree on price right here, and then all of a sudden you got sellers pushing down, then you got buyers ripping out. So we set a little line, and this is just your horizontal line. Oh no, I'm sorry, array. It's F3 on my keyboard, so I always just hit the F3. Um, you just kind of sit there and you draw out a little line. My default is red, and then I change it green. Let's go in here and change it into green. But I've already done. Okay. So I just mark it, and then I wait for price to come down. And we do the same up here. We can see buyers were ripping up into the early morning. This was 7:30 a.m. I'm in the Mountain Standard Time, so it's 2 hours behind New York. But anyways, we can see that they shot back down, and we created a supply zone where sellers took off. And now you just wait for price to come back down, and you look to see the reaction. You can see we hit right there, we popped back up. The sellers were still too strong. We ripped it back down, and once we were underneath it, then look, we're using it as resistance again. And this just shows that this is a high area of liquidity. There's no indicator. We didn't, there's no algo creating this. We just are noticing patterns from back here, and you can trade off of this. This is this is a range. And even from yesterday, we can see a little supply zone where I marked it out from before the close. This was like 10 minutes before the close, and it created an imbalance. But when price never broke through it, here, 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 it did down here, and it based, and then look, it just fucking ripped right off of it. So as you can see, it's just you can see where price wants to go in between these lines, and you can either buy off of this, which I did um, this day, but I paper handed it before it actually took off because the execution on this is tough sometimes. It looks easy, but it's a lot harder. And if you're a new trader, it can, you know, who knows? Sometimes you might pick it right up, or you might do what I do, which is anticipate that this is going to rip down, and I will like front run this breaking down, even though it's the strategy says is to buy off of this level. So yeah, um, but yeah, we can see it. It works in really choppy areas. You can see a little. You can see a minor one forming down here, and I don't really particularly like these middle, like right off of VWAP, because it just gets really choppy. You don't know what it's gonna do. But if you're just scalping points, like if you just want 2 or 3 points, you know, short this right here, take it down to VWAP, or take it down to this one, or take it down to this one. It depends on your risk tolerance, how many contracts you're trading. If you've got 3 contracts, you can take 1 contract here and the second one down here, and then let one ride, or you can stop back out if we rip over this one. It's just up to you and your how many contracts you're trading, or risk tolerance, or what. So yeah, we can see later in the day we don't pierce it, and it creates another like area of liquidity. Uh, we form middle supply. We can just see we're bouncing right over it, and now that we're over this one, we don't break back below it. That's important. So you can see buyers are really strong. And later in the day, we just ripped right over it. You can see huge push. And then what do? We come back down, use this area of resistance now as support. This would have been a great long, because then we just ripped for the entire day. The new all-time highs. So yeah, you can kind of see how this is working. You can trend trade this. Once you've broken over it, you can see little demands forming here. You can see a base and then another rip, so you can put a line here when price comes back to it. Just take that long and ride it to Valhalla. And then you can just see the chop, the FOMO hour. This was, by midday. It's you created a supply zone, and then it never broke back above it. It just ranged. And if, let's say, you hit the market late that day, and you missed all the fun morning action, this range is still a very like tradable range. You just buy down here, sell up here. But again, my degenerate ass sometimes, well, see we breaking below this, well, I'll short under here and then just get ripped out and stopped out. You don't want to do that. And this works on NQ as well. So I usually trade with a split screen like so, just so I can see both markets. And you can see all of the many trades that I took. It's very embarrassing. I'm going to take that away so you don't see that. Because actually, well, I'll keep it on just so you can get an idea of how shit crazy this goes. Like, I will take it up long above this and then just stop out too quick. This was the best trade of the day for me, was this last one. Before it took off, we have a supply zone that formed here. And then we chopped, and I traded that whole chop and got ripped up to shreds. And then my last one, I was like, fuck it. We held this little zone right here. You can see kind of created a baby little demand. Held it. When we reclaimed it, I took it long here, and I took it up to that standard deviation. It was like 30, 30 or so points on NQ. So it was like $700 trade. And yeah, that brought me back to break even on the day. And then there was just more mindless chop out here at the highs. I kind of saw like a little supply zone forming right there, and then when we popped back underneath this green candle, I kind of took it short for 5 or 6 points and just kept it really tiny. Yeah, and then we just chopped. So it wasn't a whole lot of good action late in the day. But you can kind of see where this is, how this is works. But for now, I'm going to keep it on the ES. It's not quite as neurotic, and I can go ahead and go back because I don't have any lines over. So this is what I look for. Like, if I'm starting the day, like the morning, I'll go in and I'll look for some demand zones or supply zones. So I'm just gonna press F3. And we can see we've got a nice base here. We'll go to properties. And look, holy shit. What do we do at 7 o'clock? So this is market open for me, it's like 7:30. We come up and we hit it to the fucking tick. And then we just sold. And then down here, we kind of have the same thing. So I'll just take this and control V it. Copy paste. And what do? Look, we got a nice little consolidation and then a rip. And then when price comes back to that green line, we hit it to the tick again and just pop it. And you can see where this is going. Even here, look, we get above VWAP, create a mini demand zone right where our line. We don't even have to draw a new line. It's using the same fucking line, and it bounces, but there's this wall here at 7775. So I bet if we go back, this is all kind of very choppy, but I can only go back like 6 days or so because this indicator will freak out if it's more than 6 days. But I'm sure that there's a line here from past days. Anyways, so it carries over to like other days too, which is kind of crazy. This one line that we drew in here acted as great support. We ripped. So yeah, this kind of this is what I look at, and I just draw lines all day and look for some good areas of resistance or demand. We got one right here. This one kind of ripped right through it into this other guy, but it did form a nice liquidity trap overnight. It seems we bounced, broke under it, never broke below this green line. More chop, use it as support here, rip. And look, it comes down. This was from like 3 days before this, and like it's still using these same areas to find liquidity and bounce off of. So this is a very tradable area. If you had this line, this is from back here, still acting as a great area of entry over here. Another day later. I think I did actually take this long. So yeah. And even here again, we're looking at a good place to short up here. We have a nice buyers, sellers. We test it, and we reject it right away. That's a good spot. And then look, it comes back, it reclaims it, it holds it as support, takes off again. So this is pretty much it. And with proper risk management and not over trading, you can find some really good entries. So yeah, I'll probably make more of these videos. I think I'm gonna wrap this one up. I hope you guys learned something. You can try it out. And yeah, good luck to you guys.